wish I had the words to really describe the magic of camp. When I talk to campers, when I talk to staff, at the end of virtually every summer, this is what they say. At camp, I'm the best version of myself. Each community, each summer, it's the best version of what a Jewish community can be. Our campers are surrounded by staff who are just a few years older than they are. And they look at their counselors, and I think what they're saying, what I hope they're saying is, that's who I want to be. That's the role model.
If you ask most people who have gone to summer camp, their closest friends in life are summer camp friends because you're experiencing so much together, especially if you're together from your early adolescent years in through young adulthood. And that creates bonds that are just absolutely extraordinary. We hear from the social scientists that one of the great predictors of deeper engagement in Jewish life is intensive Jewish friendships, when their identity formation is probably the most powerful that's going to be in their lives. So camp creates an entire ecosystem of experiences that can really impact a young person's life.
When we look within the Jewish communal world itself, the fact that so many of our leaders are product of our camps is an incredibly powerful testimony of Jewish identity that is learned in our camps. One of the most important things that Avichai has done is to acknowledge that for us to be competitive, desirable, that we needed the kind of physical structure to be able to upgrade our bunks, to be able to upgrade our pools, to have the kind of sophisticated facilities that would allow us to compete in today's marketplace.
I estimate that we have received over the last dozen years or so, more than $7 million in interest-free bridge loans, which allowed us to advance the cause of Reform Jewish camping and to build what we needed to build in a timely fashion. We built a dining room at the Crane Lake camp. Prior to the building of the new dining room, the camp had a very old structure where the entire camp community could not eat together at the same time, which had a negative effect on this sense of what it meant to be part of a community. We now have an absolutely beautiful state-of-the-art dining room where people can eat together and celebrate together, and it has transformed the camp. For Camp Newman, we received $1 million bridge loan to build new camper cabins. That accomplished a number of things. We could house more campers. It also dramatically improved the living experience for campers, which enabled our parents to have more confidence in the level of comfort that their kids would have in camp.
The loan program allowed us to not only improve facilities, but also open up new ones. And the most notable one is the $3 million loan that we got for Camp Kousman in the Pacific Northwest. This is a region that has significantly low affiliation rates with congregations, and to be in a position to open up a Jewish camp in that region allowed us to have a footprint that we otherwise would not have been able to have accomplished.
In 2010, we opened our first specialty camp, a sports camp in North Carolina. That has been a game changer for us. Specialty camping is tremendously successful because many parents today are looking for shorter sessions in an area of special interest for their child. We've opened 2 sports camps. We have a science and technology camp that will have more than 500 kids this summer. We're opening another science and technology camp and an arts camp, and 70% of the kids who come to our specialty camps would probably never have a Jewish camp experience if it weren't for that special interest that they and their parents have.
The idea of specialty camps at the time was a pretty threatening strategy for us. We were uncertain how to necessarily translate the impact of developing Jewish souls in a specialty environment. We were worried that it may dilute the impact, and it was really because of the funding of Avichai that allowed us to face that fear, to face the risk, or at least the perceived risk, and do it. And what it has taught us as an organization has now been documented by any number of research reports of the importance of meeting our young people based on where their interests currently lie. So it has, I would say, sort of really revolutionized the way that we look at Jewish camping, and also has revolutionized our numbers.
We have been on just an amazing journey in the last 20 years. In the summer of 2000, we had 11 camps serving about 6,000 kids. This summer, we have 16 camps that will serve more than 10,000 different kids, and we're opening 2 additional camps in the summer of 2018.
It's interesting to think about what's changed in camp over the 30 years that I've been involved. Certainly there is a greater commitment to programmatic excellence, to create programs that are going to be relevant and exciting and are going to encourage growth and invite more families to come to Ramah. We've built new gyms in our camp. We've built climbing towers. We've ensured that we have incredible artist-in-residence programs in our camp.
Avichai loans have helped us build new dining halls where we can now serve healthier food with larger kitchens, really modernize what was, 1950s, 60s, even 70s old facilities. Just that modernization helped a lot. In our California camp, an Avichai loan helped us build a second floor on one of our dormitories. And that second floor now is a thriving voc ed program for kids with disabilities called the Ezra program. Participants in Ezra, young adults with a variety of developmental disabilities, work in camp, do jobs in camp, but impact everybody in camp. It's simply extraordinary. In 2010, we created Ramah Outdoor Adventure, now called Ramah in the Rockies in Colorado, where kids get all the Jewishness that you would want from a true Ramah experience, but added on all the best of an outdoor adventure experience. And last summer, we created Ramah in Northern California called Ramah of the Waves. And next year in 2018, again with the support of the Avichai Foundation and Jim Joseph through the Foundation for Jewish Camps Incubator Program, we'll be opening our first ever Ramah Sports Academy. Avichai has been instrumental in helping us figure out how to connect camps more with synagogues, schools, the year-round connection, because it's so important, both in terms of the experience continuing, as well as encouraging more and more children and families to send their kids to camp. One of the key pieces there is encouraging the leadership of synagogues, the rabbinic leadership, the lay leadership, the cantors, the Jewish educators to really be camp people.
We introduced Gesher Ramah in Northern California and had 250 campers in the first year, the majority coming from these Gesher synagogues, where we worked and empowered the rabbis and created regular programs in each of their synagogues. A communal program where we ensured that each of these rabbis was going to be at camp during the summer. And that has sustained itself this year, where the growth in each of these synagogues is even greater. And we have now introduced Gesher Ramah in additional communities and are hoping to see similar success. Through Open Door, an initiative to reach families who were not necessarily part of a Jewish community, we began to think about how can we reach those families. We began to find them in bookstores and in running programs at street fairs. We began to hire parent ambassadors who knew them from their neighborhood and provide mentors for these families to introduce them to Ramah and to make sure it was going to be a seamless, happy entry into the Ramah system. We stay in touch with these families not only during the summer, but before the summer began, and to follow up with these families afterwards.
We know that about 110 more kids from unaffiliated backgrounds have benefited from Ramah in the last few years because of the Open Door program. Avichai gave us a large grant in order to enable us to reach out to millennials, 20s and 30s, to dream big about what's the next step in the future of a Ramah camper or staff member. And the goal there was not just to bring people together, but the goal there was to create organic communities.
We've created close to 1,000 programs and engaged over 10,000 people since we started. But that was not enough for us. What we really sought to do with Reshet Ramah and are doing is creating networks that can then create their own programs and create their own communities. So it wasn't enough for us to say we're having a Shabbat dinner in DC or in San Francisco. It's that once we've created the first Shabbat program, there's now a group of people that says we're going to sustain this on our own. So in Manhattan, there is now a Ramah Minyan. And in DC, there's a study group. And throughout this country, there are now Ramahniks because we were able to engage them in the beginning and give them the support they need. And the social media platform that they need are now creating programs that are relevant for themselves.
Of the close to 9,000 participants we've had in programs over the last 4 years, 60% of them have been Ramah alumni. 40% of them have been their friends. They're Jewish friends who wanted to come with them. And many of them are not Ramahniks at all. They just want to be there because it's just a non-judgmental, wonderful place for them to have a Jewish experience. I think that strengthens Ramah, and I think it strengthens the Jewish people.
How to quantify the impact that Avichai has had, it's been tremendous. It's allowed us to build, it's allowed us to achieve excellence, it's allowed us to grow the number of campers and staff. Avichai has allowed us to bring in more shlichim and to bring more of Israel into our programs and to really be players in the broader Jewish community.
One of the most important things that I believe Avichai has done is that it had invested in a way that there is now a field of Jewish camping. And it's through the power of that movement that I think that we've been able to develop a certain momentum that is going to take us into the future.
Their leadership has encouraged other people to step up to the plate in many, many ways, both foundations and individual funders, so that we believe that even in a post-Avichai world, we're going to be much more sustainable because of Avichai's leadership.